what is your okay? Thank you. What is your response to the allegations that Mayor Zahn made today, saying that you tried to extort him, fix the city council, the chief of police race, and the mayor's race?
Typical Ben Zahn, lies and deception. I mean, this is as false as it could be. It may be that he doesn't understand what the word extortion means or what fraud means. It's very possible. But the reality is that's absolutely not what happened. Any meeting I had with Ben Zahn over the last couple of years was mainly called by him at his request to see what we could do to help assist him in his reelection in convincing other people to not run against him. And as time went, it got more and more difficult because, frankly, his failures in office, his deception, the background of federal criminal investigation against him, all of these things kept mounting and mounting and mounting, making it more difficult. I agreed to go to a meeting with him on November 8th at Greg Buson's office. And really the topic from my vantage point was, Ben, the only chance you have of getting reelected is you've got to do a certain set of things. And my focus was on his conduct, his lies, his deception, the things that he had been doing to other people that was just making it harder and harder for him to survive a re-election, not the least of which is management of payroll, his mismanagement of city funds, all of these things. And now we've even seen payroll fraud that has been committed on the city dime. All of those things were mounting, and that was really the tenor of that original meeting. We didn't extort anybody. Candidly, if Mike Segura wanted to run for chief of police, I had no problem with that. I would never have supported him. And I made that clear. We had meetings 2 years ago with Mayor Zahn, Councilman Mike Segura, Keith Conley, and myself. And we all discussed where our support could be with that chief of police race. And all of us agreed, including Zahn, that if the last two police chiefs, Chief Glazer and Chief Caraway, felt that a certain individual was best for the safety of the citizens of the city of Kenner, that we had to commit ourselves to the safety of the citizens of the city of Kenner. The sad reality is, both of them, Chief Caraway and Chief Glazer, have been convinced, as have the men and women in blue in the city of Kenner, that Mike Segura is a threat to public safety in the city of Kenner. And unfortunately, when you look at his background, when you look at his record as an officer, not going through the training academy, his various things that occurred in personnel write-ups in that city, you'll understand why chief of police is not a good fit for him. That's not good for the citizens of the city of Kenner. Now, could he be qualified to be a councilman? Sure, I served with him as a councilman. And I could have supported him, and I would have supported, make no mistake about it, I absolutely would have supported Mike Segura in a councilman race, even at large. And I told him that explicitly. And I told him, listen, I can't support you for chief of police. I can't do it. Because the last two chiefs believe you are not the fit. You are not what's best for the safety of the citizens of the city of Kenner, and I have to support that. And truthfully, Ben Zahn agreed with that. Now, unfortunately, over the course of the next 18 months, we started to figure out that there were backroom deals being done with Segura and Zahn. And as long as Segura continued to vote for everything Ben Zahn wanted, even to the detriment of the public, they were going to have an alliance, and Ben would help him win the chief of police race. Ben, though, at the same time, was lying to me and telling me that's not true. I'll never support him in that race. So the truth of that meeting was I was trying to figure out, was he lying or was he telling the truth? And in fact, you're going to hear from a number of different sitting councilmen, sitting other elected officials, where Ben Zahn made personal threats to them that if they didn't vote his way, if they didn't do certain things a certain way, he was going to put people in their races. That's the kind of actions that he undertakes. I never undertook anything of that sort.
You're describing Mayor Zahn as someone who's not that smart, someone who's engaged in criminal activity and fraud, someone who pressures people into making backroom deals, yet at the time of the reporting for me, he's saying he supported him in his election.
Yeah, the nature of that meeting was, Ben, I want to still support you. I really, what's that? Because I had hope for him. I really did. At the time, I said, you know what? I think there's hope. Because at heart, I believe Ben's been a good guy, okay? He's been a good person in many respects. He was failing at his job, but we thought we could help him do a better job and help, like you would with any friend, try and help them be better at the things, because we believe he wanted to succeed, but he wasn't doing it. We would get calls from businesses saying, we can't get a return phone call. Can you help us Can you help us get in touch with the mayor? Can you help him meet with us so we can keep our business in the city of Kenner? And we'd ask, why won't you return their phone calls? And he wouldn't do it. So yeah, at that time, I had every intention of supporting him, and I wanted to. And what I laid down was a series of issues that frankly were accusations that he was lying to the public and lying to us. And I said, if you can prove that that's not true and that you're telling the truth, then I can continue to support you. But you're making it ever so difficult. The number of meetings I was having a week, trying to defend him, trying to salvage his reelection, it was almost immeasurable how hard we were trying to help salvage the career he wanted. But unfortunately, we just kept learning that more and more of these accusations were true. And we wanted to believe that what he was telling us was true, what everyone else was telling us was untrue. But unfortunately, as I kept digging, what I learned was, unfortunately, my ally, my friend, wasn't telling me the truth. And that was a sad realization that I had to come to. And I pulled my support from him on January 3rd in a one-on-one meeting with him. And I didn't discuss a lot of these things. I focused on, honestly, the cloud of federal investigation, that I had firsthand information of questions that were raised downtown on things he was doing, and he admitted to me, one-on-one, that some of them actually had some legitimacy. He didn't believe they were criminal. Yeah, well, one of them was an accusation that a parish contractor who we had contracted to do business in the city of Kenner, to do work. They were doing substantial work for the parish within the city of Kenner. That ultimately, the mayor's daughter got a job there, okay? I knew nothing about this. And when I asked him about it, his response was, well, I was told she wasn't gonna work on Kenner projects. And I said, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. That doesn't make it right. And I'll tell you, and that was in our meeting when I told him I cannot support you for mayor. And at that time, and this is part of what makes all of this a smokescreen by him and really deceptive, at that time, Greg Buson was still his consultant. And at that time, I was going to not be part of the Zahn campaign, and Greg Buson was still going to be his consultant.
At this point, we have you pointing the finger at him, him pointing the finger at you. What is the truth of the political climate here in Kenner? Is it just a bunch of mudslinging? Is it backroom doors? What is it?
No backroom doors. Here's the sad reality. I'm on the street every day, okay? I'm with the people. The reality is his reelection attempt is failing miserably because the public doesn't trust him. And part of that meeting, the beginning of that meeting, was us showing him poll results that showed the public does not have confidence in him. And I can tell you every day on the street, the campaign against him is mounting and mounting without us trying. Why? The public doesn't need elected officials to tell them who to trust. They know who to trust. They don't trust him.
I just have one more question. Have you been contacted by the FBI or any elections officials regarding this?
Absolutely not. And I'll be honest, I stand by the comments I made in that meeting. They want to investigate, they can investigate. We did an election rig. We never would election rig. Unfortunately, again, he might want to look at a dictionary and do a little more research before he starts throwing out terms he just kind of doesn't understand.
And these recordings that he does have, what's your response to these recordings?
Well, I mean, the ones I heard, my response is, I said what I said. I mean, my response is kind of all the things I just said, but on a number of things. Did I agree that if Mike Segura ran for council at large, that I would support him? 100%. And there's nothing wrong with that. The reality is, I couldn't support him for chief of police because of his checkered record. I mean, it was bad. And we knew that is not the kind of record that a man should be the chief of police in charge of the safety of the citizens of the city of Kenner. And as far as the recordings go, part of it, what you didn't hear, what you didn't see, is a huge part of the reasons Mike Glazer was declared that he was running against Ben Zahn, is he didn't trust him. He said he's lying to us, he's lying to the community. He doesn't know what's best for the safety of the citizens of Kenner. And if he wants to support Mike Segura, that's a threat to the safety of the citizens of the city of Kenner. That's why Mike Glazer had originally said he had to run for mayor to protect the citizens of the city of Kenner. And what I said, when Ben asked, well, how could we convince Mike not to run? And I said, you'd have to convince him that you weren't going to come out and support someone that he believes is a threat to the safety of the city. And he refused to do that. Why? Because Ben Zahn had a backdoor deal and an unholy alliance with Mike Segura, because Mike was the only guy who would vote with him regardless of what was good or bad for the citizens.
Are you supporting Segura? I mean, Laser rather than the mayor's race?
Absolutely, 100%.
Did you make that decision as well?
No. I made that decision actually about 2 weeks ago, give or take. Originally, I decided I wasn't going to support Zahn for mayor, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I've met with Chief Blazer. I see his vision for the city of Kenner. The first one is honesty. The first is, when you talk to Mike Blazer, I'm going to know that I'm getting the truth. And that's a big deal, And all of this, while Ben Zahn was coming to us, asking us, under the auspice of, I'm asking you for advice, I'm asking you for help. The truth is, he was deceptively recording us the whole time. And that's fine, because one thing about Dominic Impastato, if I say something, I mean it.
Thank you, Dominic.
Thank you.
Dominic, can you say that if you get too shy or not too shy?
So I knew what we talked about. We knew what the nature of those conversations were. But the thought that somebody, instead of trying to work with us to get the city better, this was just a political ploy by him the whole time, which is sad. Because what happened in the meantime while he was doing those recordings, and I absolutely love this on the record, instead of focusing on how to keep employees from committing payroll fraud with FEMA, he was busy trying to save his own political future and record those closest to him. Maybe if he had spent less time trying to play cloak and dagger, he could have actually saved the taxpayers from being the victims of payroll fraud.
Is this the fraud you're alleging against his wife?
No, I'm talking about, honestly, what Fox 8 has revealed with people working overtime illegally, contrary to public policy. And frankly, I haven't seen it. I'd love to.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Y'all